Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's reading from the Basics of Bhagavad Gita. We are on chapter 2, God. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhate girim. Yat kripatam ham bande Shri Gurudira Taranam. Shri Chaitanya Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram. Shri Chaitanyeshwaram Paramananda Madhavam. Okay, so we are going to read the symptoms of an avatar today. So just to make a clarification from yesterday's reading, as I was reading, it was written in the book that the eighth avatar of among the Dashavatars was Balaram. So I was clarifying it from other sources. Many places, if it's an avatar of Krishna, it's just put Krishna as the eighth avatar of the Dashavatars. But if it's an avatar of Vishnu, in some places it's been put as Balaram as well. And I've put a little article for reading in the previous post, so please have a look. So it depends which region of the country it is. Some will say Balaram is the eighth avatar and some will say Krishna is the eighth avatar. Symptoms of an avatar. We find many unscrupulous people claiming to be an avatar of God, and they cheat many gullible, innocent people who are ignorant about spiritual truths. This is causing havoc in the society. Therefore, there must be a clear understanding of how one can recognize an avatar. Given below are the conditions that must be fulfilled. Otherwise, one should consider that person simply is a cheater. He must be predicted in the scripture, for example, Lord Kalki, who will appear at the end of Kali Yuga. Secondly, he must display universal form, that is the Virat Roop, as Lord Krishna did to Arjun during the narration of the Bhagavad Gita to him on the battlefield in Kurukshetra during Mahabharata. And thirdly, he must perform extraordinary activities impossible for others to perform, as Lord Krishna did by lifting the Govardhan hill on his left hand's small finger for 7 days. Then he must have a unique message and mission. For example, Lord Chaitanya came to establish Yug Dharma for the Kali Yuga, which is the Harinam Sankirtan. That Lord is residing in the holy name itself. And lastly, he must have certain special marks and features on his body as per the revealed scriptures, for examples on his palms and soles, the soles of his feet. Lord Krishna personally appeared about 5,000 years ago and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about 500 years ago. The next avatar, as per indications in the scripture, will be Kalki avatar. But that will happen more than 4 lakh years from now at the end of the Kali Yuga. So we shouldn't forget that the duration of Kali Yuga has only gone just over 5,000 years, and there is many more years to go by till this Kali Yuga will come to an end finally. Because roughly the Kali Yuga is in Indian terms 4,05,000-ish years long, which is about 432,500 years long. Okay, so there is no scheduled incarnation before that, hence all those who claim to be avatar of the God in the present day must be clearly understood to be impostors and cheaters. One God or many gods? One of the most common misconceptions among the Hindus especially is that of pantheism, that is the belief that there are many gods. This is not true. God with a capital G, I will repeat, God with capital G is one. There are, however, many gods with the small alphabet G called demigods, who are not in the category of God, but they represent God and reflect tiny portion of his power. The various expansions of God are referred to earlier. In the expansions of God, we were explaining yesterday that God can come as Narayan, then Vishnu. They are all God, one supreme person appearing as many supreme persons. These forms are many and varied, yet they are still one and the same supreme personality of Godhead. As opposed to this, various personalities like Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Ganesh, Durga, Agni, Surya and so on fall in the small alphabet G, God, the lowercase g, God category. That is, they are called the demigods. These two categories should not be equated. Lord Krishna and other personalities in the God are always supreme and independent, whereas the demigods are always subordinate and dependent. The demigods have no independent authority or power. This power is granted to them by the Lord Krishna for executing his purpose within this world. Hence, the demigods should never be considered God. So we'll see in all the Iskcon literature, Prabhupada has always mentioned the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a capital G. And even if he's been given a pronoun in a sentence, for example, his, that his also begins with a capital H. Lord Krishna is actually the origin of all the demigods, as he declares in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 2, Na me viduhu sura ganaha prabhavam na mahashrayah aham adir hi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Translated, neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences. For example, in every respect, I am the source of demigods and sages. So all the elevated demigods and the sages which are mentioned in the scriptures, who's the source of them? It's God. And God tells himself in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 10, verse 2. The demigods are empowered living entities in charge of various administrative responsibilities for creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the universe. So the demigods are the administrative authorities of the God, which have been given the charge of various very important departments of creation, which is Lord Brahma, maintenance, which is Vishnu, annihilation, which is Shiva. They are like ministers in a government handling the affairs of a particular ministry. They remain in their posts as long as they enjoy the confidence of the Prime Minister per se, which is Krishna. There are as many as 33 crore demigods, and just to the ones who are not very familiar with the Indian terms, a crore has got 9 zeros and lakh has got 7 zeros. Each universe has its own set of demigods. Thus, there are millions of Brahmas, Indras, Suryas in the creation. They perform their duties in accordance with the instructions of the Supreme Lord. Just to give an idea, some of the principal demigods along with their duties are as follows. So, the demigod name will be said first by me, then I will say the function of that particular demigod. Brahma, his function is to create the universe. Shiva is responsible for the destruction of the universe. Indra is the king of demigods and in charge of rain and thunder. Varuna, demigod, is in charge of all water bodies like oceans, rivers and lakes. Surya, the demigod, is in charge of providing heat and light. Ganesha, the demigod, removes all obstacles from one's path. Vayu, the demigod, is in charge of wind. Kuvera, the demigod, is the treasurer of the demigods. And finally, Yamraj, the demigod, is the god of death. Now, these demigods reside in the higher planetary systems. There they enjoy heavenly pleasures and a long lifespan. It is explained that the lifespan of Brahma is 100 years, which is equivalent to 311 trillion and 40 million earth years. So the life of Brahma is nowhere near the lives of us mortals in this Mrityalok, which is Martyalok, which is earth. It is, his life is 100 years in his time scale, in the spiritual time scale, but in our time scale it amounts to 311 trillion and 40 million earth years. And we all know 1 million has got 6 zeros, billion has got 9, and then obviously trillion will have 3 more, if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. The demigods and devotees of the Lord are the Lord's representatives in the universe. The Supreme Lord is very merciful to them, and he comes to their rescue whenever the demons threaten to annihilate them. What should be one's attitude towards the demigods? Okay, before I speak about that, I would just like to tell you that Brahmaji, the post of Brahmaji can be owned by any of the human beings on this earth as long as they live consecutive 100 very, very pious, very, very pure lives. Then if somebody desires, they can have the post of Brahma. So if one doesn't want to go back to Godhead and they have some kind of desire to have the post of Lord Brahma, one can have it, but you have to have 100 earthly, very, very pious, pure lives. Then you can have the post of Lord Brahma. You can become Lord Brahma. So the choice is yours. You want to have something like that, consecutive life, or you just want to wind up the cycle of birth, death, old age and disease, and you say rather I go and serve the Lord himself. So when the Brahma's life ends, he also has to call it a day, like us, like we do when our time is up. Our souls, our bodies, they are just left and the soul moves on. What should be one's attitude towards the demigods? Just as a representative of the government is given due respect by the citizens, we should be respectful to the demigods. However, knowing that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, we need not worship the demigods separately for any material benefits. Whatever be our desire, whether for spiritual gain or material profit, we can directly approach Krishna for their fulfillment. It is, of course, best to approach Krishna exclusively for devotional service or bhakti. Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stathaiv bhajamyaham. I can't say the remainder of the line I just have, and I'll leave it because I don't want to say it wrong. So as per our desires, Krishna will provide the situation, the circumstances, and the environment conducive to our desire. So be very careful in desiring what you want. Like I was saying the other day, that we don't even know what to desire from Krishna, because our desires are usually very, very, very insignificant. Someone might just say, oh God, give me 100 designer saris or dresses or shoes, or the latest designs in the jewelry, semi-precious or precious gems, or some cars, some palatial residence, this and that, some designer holidays, and God knows what, or some desire could be just very simple in the duration of this lockdown, asking for a nice meal cooked from outside, because I think people have had some sort of austerity as well. They haven't been able to go out. They have been just eating food cooked by them. They haven't been able to see their extended families or friends. So desires can be very, very insignificant. So Krishna, when he's in his trance, lying in the Garbhodak Vishnu ocean, or when he's also simultaneously with as the Kshirodakshay Vishnu within our hearts as Paramatma, he must be laughing at us, or not just laughing, he must be just thinking that these human beings, how naive they are. They don't even know what to desire. So what I have realized now is that I have to pray to Lord to help me give right desires in my mind, because my mind or my wisdom is not that big that I can desire right things for myself. Even knowing what is right for me, I might just succumb to the temptation of that moment, or the situation around me, that I'll just say, oh God, just give me that for that time, which I might regret in the future. So we should all pray to the Lord to give us the right desires, what we want to ask from Him. The best is to ask for bhakti, because once you will get the mercy for bhakti from Bhagwan, Bhagwan will make sure that your bhakti goes nicely, and He will provide what is right for the bhakti, and He will take away what is not right for what is unfavorable for the bhakti. Okay, where were we? Yeah. Although the demigods possess enormous powers, yet they also have to undergo birth and death. Hence, they are not able to give benediction of liberation, which is only in the hands of the Lord Himself only. Hence, they are not able to give that. It is only Mukunda, giver of liberation, that is Krishna. Mukunda is another name for Krishna, who is able to award this. Therefore, those who want the highest benefit in life always approach Krishna and serve Him with resolute determination. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 20, Kame ste rita jananaha prapadyante nya anya devataha tam niyamam asthaya prakritya niyataha swayaha. And translated it is, those whose intelligence has been stolen by the material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. In chapter 7, verse 23, Krishna again says, Antavat tu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpamedhasam devan deva yajo yanti mad bhakta yanti mam api. Translated, men of small intelligence worship the demigods and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship demigods go to the planets of the demigods. But my devotees ultimate reach my planet, my supreme planet. For those who say that worship of the demigods is the same as worship of Krishna, Krishna replies that worship of the demigods is not the proper way to worship him. In chapter 9, Bhagavad Gita, verse 23, Ye api anya devta bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitah te api mam eva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. Translated as, those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do in a wrong way. So in a layman's term, instead of holding our nose from the front, we'll just go around our neck. From the behind, we'll try to reach our nose. So Krishna clearly says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9:23, that those who are worshipping the demigods with full faith are actually worshipping Krishna only, but they are doing in a wrong way. It's like there's another verse where Krishna clearly says in Bhagavad Gita that how if we offer the prayers to Lord, it is like watering the roots. Now if we think, if we water the roots, the whole tree or the plant will get watered. If we are throwing the water on the leaves only, you think the leaves are able to absorb the water better? Which is not the case. If we water the roots, then the water will reach the leaves also properly through the right channels inside the through the inside of the tree or the plant. So, further, worshippers of Krishna and those of the demigods and others attain different destinations. So how can all such worship be one and the same? So if you are worshipping the demigods, you are not reaching the Lord, you are reaching different destinations. Like it was said that different demigods are in charge for different portfolios, and it is not under their jurisdiction to give us liberation, and whatever benedictions they are giving, they are also coming through. The source is actually Krishna himself. In chapter 9, verse 25, Krishna says, Yanti deva vrata devan pitran yanti pitra vrataha bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti mad yajno apimam. Translated as, those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings, and those who worship me will live with me. Therefore, while we should offer respect to the demigods, our worship, love and service should be offered directly to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. So हमारी पूजा, हमारा प्रेम और हमारी सेवा ये भगवान की तरफ ही अर्पित होनी चाहिए, तभी हमको इस संसार रूपी चक्र से जीवन मृत्यु बुढ़ापा और ओल्ड एज और उससे मृत्यु से तभी हमको क्या बोलते हैं छुटकारा मिलेगा. In the normal language, I was trying to think of a nice Hindi word, but mukti milegi. Yes, mukti is a nice word. So Krishna, is he a Hindu god? No, God is God with a capital G. God does not belong to this community or that. God is for everyone. He is not the monopoly of any particular class or group of people or So to say Krishna is God for all, not just for Hindus or even all human beings, but for all species of life, as he declares in Bhagavad Gita chapter 14 verse 4. So let me quickly reach that verse for you. Chapter 14 verse 4. With chapter 14, which is the three modes of material nature, and verse 4 is Sarvyonishu Kaunteya Murtaya Sambhavanti Yah Tasam Brahma Mahadyo Nirham Bij Pradah Pita. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. The same God is known by different names in different languages, in different cultures and lands at different times. Water may be called as Jal or Pani or Niru or Neer, but it is still water. Similarly, with God, the word Allah in Arabic means all-powerful. The word Jehovah or Yahweh in Hebrew from the Bible means the greatest. The word Ram in Sanskrit means all-pleasing. The word Krishna in Sanskrit means all-attractive. These different names refer to the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who possesses all opulences in full. So, where is the contradiction? It's just where one has taken birth, where one has lived, which community one belongs to, which religion one belongs to. The name of the Supreme will be different, and how he is worshipped and what are the do's and don'ts for that religion, they'll be different according to the time, place and circumstance. Krishna is the highest conception of God. Krishna means all attractive. Thus his name encompasses all other names and conceptions of life and is the most intimate name. The Supreme Personality of Godhead as Lord Krishna revealed to us in Srimad Bhagavatam. He is described as possessing a body made of Sat, Chit, Anand, which is eternity, bliss and knowledge. His beautiful complexion is dark blue like that of a new monsoon cloud. But you will say that we see at many places Krishna's murtis or the vigrahas carved out of black marble, because there is no dark blue marble available in the nature. There's no such marble available where one can carve the arch vigraha or the murti of Krishna from. So the closest they have is the black marble. So hence we see black murtis. Like in Vrindavan, the murti Shyam Sundar is of black stone. Actually, it should be of dark blue. It's the same color which is of a new monsoon cloud, which doesn't look very black. Neither it's very blue to our eyes, but it's dark blue, looking like the new monsoon cloud. That shade. He is decorated with a peacock feather on his head and garlanded with the Vajanti Mala. The sound of his flute is so melodious that anyone who hears it becomes enchanted. The peacocks immediately go mad, while all animals, trees and plants stand still and listen to the transcendental music of the flute with great attention. Even the wives of the denizens of heaven become perturbed. The cows become charmed and immediately spread their long ears just to catch the liquid nectar of the flute. The gopis of Vrindavan forget everything and simply run towards Krishna. Thus Krishna eternally enjoys loving pastimes with his devotees in his abode of Goloka. These same transcendental leelas were manifest on this earth planet when Krishna descended along with his eternal companions and his abode in the holy land of Raja, that is Vrindavan. Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure and transcendental loving exchanges with his devotees is his only occupation. So very beautifully it's been told here. Krishna is the reservoir or the source or the ocean of all pleasure and transcendental, in Hindi we'll say Divya, loving exchanges with his devotees is only occupation. और अपने भक्तों के साथ उस दिव्य प्रेम का आदान प्रदान करना ही भगवान का सबसे मेन ऑक्यूपेशन को क्या कहेंगे हिंदी में, क्रियाकलाप या फिर उनका मेन धर्म यही है भगवान का, अपने भक्तों के साथ उस दिव्य प्रेम का आदान प्रदान करना. This is the highest conception of God. So this is the highest conception of the God, which is that he is the reservoir of all pleasure and transcendental loving exchanges with his devotees is the only occupation for him, and this is the highest conception for him. So we'll continue tomorrow, and we'll be reading tomorrow that why different religions. If God is one, then how come we have got so many different religions, and each with a different set of do's and don'ts. One encourages that you can eat this thing, the other says you can't eat this. In one religion there are this kind of fasting, another religion is like this. So we'll read about that tomorrow. And you know the garland which Krishna wears, Vajanti Mala, I've been trying to find out, is there any nearest description of English flower in it, English name for it. I haven't been able to find, but I'll find out and put it in the comment section. So thank you for joining. I presume it's Narayan Keshwar Prabhu watching today's reading with me. I can't see the name. I can see one person is online. So I shall take your leave, and please forgive me if I have said something wrong. The mistake will be coming through me. Nothing is given wrong in the literature from the Iskcon this Bhaktivedanta book trust. And please forgive me if I've said something wrong, or my thought process or my words haven't been able to convey the meaning properly. So I will continue this tomorrow with all of you. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Wish you all a very beautiful day ahead. It's been raining here, and I've seen it's raining in India as well. Monsoons are in full swing there now. So they've brought some respite, and in America it is still very warm. So I hope you will also get some rain. Hari Bol.